All right, folks, we are live and well and broadcasting into the stratosphere. Good morning and welcome to Lake Superior Interfaith Community Church. As our name suggests, we are a community which honors many paths to the divine. And to support this vision, we invite a different speaker to share her wisdom each week. And today, I'm very happy to tell you, in case you hadn't guessed, that the Reverend Kim Luedtke is here to provide some comic relief. So, and so, yes, so now she has to be funny. There are no options. And so, my name is Jasmine Phoenix. I am a current board member and past president. And Carol Carey, who is our current president, is our accompanist today. And so, today, I think we're going to do our greetings at this point. And I know that you lovely people jumped the gun and already did some greetings, and by golly, I'm going to suggest that you do it again just because everybody needs hugs, with one caveat. If you would prefer to maintain social distance, simply remain seated, and we will know that we will give you that space. If you would like to mingle and be hugged or shake hands, please stand so that we know your intent. And now, let's do that good greeting stuff one more time.
I'm just going to put my mask on because I work in a clinic of vulnerable people.
Yes, absolutely. I went to a huge and wonderful jewelry sale on Friday morning, and I wore my mask because it's just like,
How fun. How fun.
if somebody left it, I thought maybe Kim brought it in.
Okay.
Yes, there you go. All right, lovely people. Let's get this show on the road so the folks at home have something to watch. Our first song, as always, is on the card in the back of the pew in front of you. That is Let There Be Peace. Let's please stand while we sing. Please be seated. I'm going to do a short invocation. This phrase keeps returning to me, and we have used it recently in meditations, and I just think it's incredibly helpful for where we all are in the world right now. And so, as we go about our lives, whoever we are, whatever is happening in our lives, one of the most important things that we can do as we breathe in and out is remind ourselves to let go. With me one time, inhale, let go. And once more, inhale, let go. Please take this with you as you go about your day and your life. Bring it into the world with you. I find it incredibly helpful when my higher self throws the reminders in my path that virtually everything that I come across will be easier, happier, resolved when I can remember to simply let go. And so it is. All right. We are going to hear a song that Kim has brought in for us today. As you may remember, our speakers always have the option of choosing the two hymns for our service, and it doesn't matter whether those come from our hymnal or they can come from anywhere that the speaker feels is spiritually relevant to his or her presentation. So Kim, again, no expectations at all, but what have you got for us today?
Okay, I have some song sheets, so there's some songs we're going to do today that you might want to sing along with. And the first song is called Just Fine, and it's by a woman named Desiree Dawson. And when I got here, I heard these two talking downstairs. He said, "How are you?" She said, "Just fine." So we're already on the right track.
Kim is distributing some song sheets, and the song that we are going to be hearing and singing along to is called Just Fine. Kim, you said that's Desiree Dawson. So those of you at home, if you're really quick on your phone or your computer, you could probably pull that up on YouTube or Google with the lyrics, and you can sing along with us if you choose, or at least I think you'll feel more connected.
Okay, we're just going to sing along with the chorus.
I have an issue, I'm trying to find some answers in the storybook. I am light just like a dancer, moving gracefully, but then it feels like I'm stuck. There's a door that I cannot seem to open up. I found the lock, I found the key, I found some reasons why. When I'm closest to my dreams, I don't wanna try. I found a hammer and some nails, so it's time to play. Step into the wild. There is a part of me that knows that I'll be just fine. There is a part of me that knows it's all in my mind. There is a part of me that knows that I'll be just fine. Just fine. I have this part of me that always tries to keep me safe. Another part that seems to sign me up for every race. And both sides cards they fight. Yeah, they try to show who's best, so now I mediate. I'm always stuck cleaning the mess. I found the broom, the time to sweep. I found some reasons why I throw myself down on the ground when every cell says fly. From way down here, the sky is clear, the ground supports my weight. Step into the wild. There is a part of me that knows that I'll be just fine. There is a part of me that knows it's all in my mind. There is a part of me that knows that I'll be just fine. Just fine. There is a part of me that knows that I'll be just fine. There is a part of me that knows it's all in my mind. There is a part of me that knows that I'll be just fine. Just fine. Hey there, resistance, knocking at the door. I'm gonna head out back. Go on and explore. You are persistent. I recall this from the past. There's intention in my heart, so you can't hold me back. There is a part of me that knows that I'll be just fine. There is a part of me that knows it's all in my mind. There is a part of me that knows that I'll be just fine. Just fine. There is a part of me that knows that I'll be just fine. There is a part of me that knows it's all in my mind. There is a part of me that knows that I'll be just fine. Just fine. I have an issue, I'm still trying to find the answers.
And guess what? We're just fine. Speaking of being just fine, we're going to move into announcements, and I'm going to do the first and possibly the biggest one. We've been teasing you all for a couple of months talking about a rummage sale, and it's kind of time to do or die. So I decided to take a leap of faith on behalf of all of us, and we are having a rummage sale in 2 weeks on Saturday, June 4th. Yes. And I will not apologize for what seems like fairly short notice, since we have been talking about it every week, and it was in the last newsletter and so on and so forth. So that's the day of the sale. So I'm going to give you a quick rundown. The best day to drop off your donations would be next Sunday between the hours of 10 and 1. I will be sure to be here during that time so I can direct you downstairs. You can, if you're not coming for the service or plan to stay, you can still come in and drop your items. I will be here to help you downstairs. From that point on, those of you who have volunteered, and you know who you are, and bless your pea-picking hearts, I will be posting on Facebook what our other work days will be. And then Carol has a large and wonderful email list, and I'm going to get that from her, and I will also send out that information there. So for those of you who are planning to work, you will either get an email from me or you will see it on the church's Facebook page. I will also repeat those times next Sunday. And couple more things I don't want to lose. I have the feeling we're going to get lots of stuff for our sale. So please do not bring books this time. We are going to save books, CDs, DVDs, the usual fall stuff we're going to save for that sale. Just good usable rummage stuff this time around. And even if you haven't already let me know that you are available, if you can come on any of the times that you see posted, you know what? Just show up. I will welcome you with open arms. So one of the things that I like about the rummage sale is it does really feel like it's community building, because while we work, we chat and laugh and talk about things we wouldn't talk about when otherwise, and so on and so forth. So Keep that in mind. Big day coming up, 2 weeks away. And then, Sue, do you want to do our other announcements?
Good morning, everybody. All right. Sorry I missed you last week. I was in Marquette. Lovely. Welcome to Lake Superior Interfaith. And here we go. Please turn your phones off or put them on Do Not Disturb while we have our service today. Thank you very much. Don't forget, we have our suggestion box in the back of the church. We also have other ways for you to give us suggestions, comments, ideas. If you have a person you want to have come speak at our church, please let us know. You can email us at Interfaith on 9th Street, the number 9th Street, at gmail.com. If you have ideas for speakers, meditators, other things we need to do, please let us know. Who is speaking next week? Oh, next week is our Unity meeting, our Unity church service. That's right. Remember, once a month we are doing a Unity church service to get us going on our process of becoming an evolving church through Unity. Check out our website, Facebook, and newsletter. We always have good news going on all those different places. And if you missed a service, don't forget to check us out on YouTube. The Unity Book Discussion Group is on Sunday evenings at 6 o'clock here at the church and on Zoom for those of you who'd like to do it that way. If you have monetary donations that you'd like to send to the church, you can always do that through mailing it to us at 1414 East 9th Street. 55805. We do have a PayPal account. You can check out our website. At the bottom of the website, it's got a link to our PayPal account. Consider joining our summer gardening committee. I understand that Denise and Lita were out there this week doing some gardening and some weeding and some other things, and we could always use your help. Get your hand in the dirt, get dirty. Tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., 10:30? 10:30 tomorrow morning. Okay. Yeah, just even for an hour. You know, if you want to come up, we've got all kinds of stuff to pick out through the gardens and stuff like that. So make sure you give us a hand. Getting your hands in the dirt is good for the soul. All right. Do we have any prayer intentions? Lisa. Ooh. What's her name? Alexis. Alexis was just diagnosed, 13 years old, diagnosed with bone cancer. Any prayers that we can give her for that for health and help in that direction? Yeah. Joan, Jerry and Jean's daughter Joan broke her clavicle running yesterday, and she needs our support as well. And Jean needs our support too, because she almost passed out when she was at the hospital. She told me that. She's under a little bit of stress with that too. So let's give a prayer to the Quaco family there. Any other requests? Jan? Yes, I'd like to have prayers for my husband who has a terminal muscle deterioration disease. And what's his name? Harlan. Harlan, Jan's, Averil's husband has a deteriorating muscle disease. Inflammatory myopathy. That doesn't even sound like fun. So, yeah, let us. Oh, yeah. Let's get some prayers going in that direction for the Averil family.
Friend of mine, Sue. My name, her name, and my friend's name. Has MS, has had it for many years, and had a stroke last October, and can't do anything with her left arm or leg. And I'm praying for healing for her entire body.
All right. Yeah, Sue is praying for Sue, who has another Sue, 3 Sues now. Don't get confused. Sue has MS and had a stroke last fall, and is not only is she having the MS issues, but can't move anything on her left side. So let's pray for help and healing for her as well. Any other prayer requests on Zoom? No requests on Zoom. Hold on. We also have our prayer bowl. If you have any other prayers or intentions or ideas of things that you need people to be helped with, you can mentally or physically put a piece of paper in our bowl, and we will pray over that. And don't forget to come and join us for coffee and sweets this after the service today, and on the third Sunday. Isn't that today? Oh, well. Oh, that was last week. I missed it. The third Sunday of each month, we will have some kind of soup, sandwiches, lunch type of potluck type of deal. So yeah, we are communicating and communitying. So thanks very much.
So we might have a new verb. I like communitying. Carol.
Good morning. I'm Carol Giesecke, past president and organist here for about 23 or 4 years. Our board has asked me, first off, they are looking to rehome our organ, and I've been asked to facilitate that process. So I've also been asked to invite prayers today that our organ find its own perfect home. And I will say that this is tough for me. I'd like it to stay here. I would love to be playing it if there are people who want to hear it. Otherwise, I know it's time for it to move on. And we have been looking, I've been talking with people about where it could be happily welcomed. So we ask your prayers for the highest good for this organ and for our church musically, that they be where they belong. Jean? Nothing has been decided. We're just trying to find a place right now.
I will add that I spoke with Bob Ward, is that his name, Carol? The gentleman who ran Lindor Pianos for many years, and there is no market value for a church organ. So we would be happy if someone would come and take it and give it a new home. We don't want it to go to the landfill. That would be a terrible waste. So, but yeah, it's not a hot commodity, to put it mildly. So if any of you know of anyone, let us know.
And I would ask that they let,
Yes.
if you should happen to be, excuse me, interested in still hearing it as part of our services, please let me and board members know. Otherwise, we don't know. Thank you.
Today we are going to do the older principles, and I think that you will find that they are very similar intent to the unity principles, and we will hear the unity principles next week in our Unity Sunday. You know that the cards are in the back of the pew in front of you if you need them. We believe in infinite intelligence. We believe that the phenomena of nature, both physical and spiritual, are the expression of infinite intelligence. We affirm that a correct understanding of such expression and living in accordance therewith constitute true religion. We affirm that the existence and identity of the individual continue after the change called death. We believe in our universal connection in spirit, and that there is communication between the spiritual and physical worlds. We believe that the highest morality is contained in the Golden Rule. Whatsoever ye would that others should do unto you, do ye also unto them. We affirm the moral responsibility of individuals, and that we make our own happiness or unhappiness as we obey or disobey nature's physical and spiritual laws. We affirm that the doorway to reformation is never closed against any human soul, here or hereafter. We affirm that the precepts of prophecy and healing are divine attributes contained in all sacred texts. And now I'm going to turn the microphone over to Kim, and she has let me know that she's going to do her talk first and the meditation second, just so you have some idea of what's coming.
Okay, good morning.
It's so nice to see you. And I want you to know I didn't put a mask on when I went to hug you because I put it on because I work in a clinic of vulnerable people, so just to not bring them anything. Okay. As our, just need to adjust this a little bit. Not quite as tall as Jasmine. As our sacred text this morning, I chose something from the Course in Miracles, 2 little quotes from the Course in Miracles. The first one is, I could see peace instead of this. I could see peace instead of this. And it kind of goes along with, everything we've talked about so far. And then the second one is, I am as God created me. And that comes up in the Course in Miracles over and over and over again. And the topic of my talk today is, just stretching, okay. The topic of my talk today is the purposeful unraveling of the world. And when I was trying to come up with a topic for this talk, I was just feeling sort of crabby. I was just feeling like an out of sorts feminist, And I was just thinking about, did I just waste my youth, working for equal rights? Do the sacrifices that I made, like accepting low paying or no paying jobs at Save the World organizations even matter? At this historical moment, when the world seems to be becoming more and more meaningless, does anything even matter? I think in my 65 years on this planet, I've never witnessed anything quite so profoundly disturbing as the current state of affairs. I mean, you look at the news, you look at the world, and you think, what's going on? Although, probably it's happened before. We don't have dinosaurs anymore, so something must have gone on before. But anyway, I was procrastinating on this talk, and I wasn't coming up with any good ideas. And I was just telling myself, well, you can't just go on a rant about current events and say some swear words and call it a sermon. But I seem to have lost some of my social skills through COVID. But clearly, I needed a new vision. To underscore this notion, my glasses literally fell off my face and broke in two. They split right down the center. And I was going to bring them as a visual, a visual aid, but I forgot them. But anyway, clearly, I need a new vision. So I went online and I looked up a few things, and I was just trying to prime the pump, trying to find something to talk about today. And so, of course, I ended up watching a 40-minute video by a mortician with red lipstick talking about how a $3,500 casket was ruined transporting JFK back to Washington, D.C. after he was shot. So, not exactly material for a church talk, but, inquiring minds want to know. And, that's what happens when you sit down at the computer. You just go off on these bunny trails, and then, you look at the clock, and a couple of hours have passed. And there's always something, when you're watching videos, there's always something in that lineup on the side that's more interesting than what you're already watching. So you just keep clicking and clicking, clicking and clicking. Then in this article by a woman named Cynthia Lowe, she said, "Your brain is a house that used to live in a quiet cul-de-sac until somebody put an information superhighway through it. Now, with digital notifications flying, it's like we're sitting in the middle of 10 lanes of high-speed traffic all day long, wondering where the bird song went." And just as the mortician completed her video that I was watching, my computer dinged, and a friend had sent me a podcast of Michael Meade. And it was so good that I didn't even need the command that my neighbors lovingly use with their 4-year-old daughter, which is focus. Focus. That's what they say to her over and over. We're really outside playing Frisbee and they say, focus. But anyway, I didn't need that command to listen to it more than once because it really caught my attention. Michael Meade is a scholar of the world mythology, probably of the world. World mythology. He's sort of a Joseph Campbell kind of guy. And he was talking about that according to ancient mythology, our current world is definitely going through a dark night of the soul. And that didn't make me feel any better about the world, but it made me feel a little less alone in my feminist angst. And Michael Meade said, "In the dark times, it is the deeper sense of hope and a greater sense of imagination that we long for and that the world needs." He said that although there's a war and a worldwide pandemic and mass shootings and fraying civility and climate calamity of all sorts, Maybe there's purpose in all of this. Maybe the escalating corruption is what it will take to get us to pay attention, and it will move us to find better ways of being. Abraham Hicks says it is contrast that helps us to know what we want. By knowing what we don't want, helps us to know what we actually want. And then Michael Meade told this story from the White River Sioux people of South Dakota, and I think it's such a beautiful story, especially for this particular time. And he said, "There's an old woman sitting in the cave of knowledge, weaving the world. She is trying to make it the most beautiful thing that anyone has ever seen. She is using porcupine quills for the borders, and they must be flattened, which she does with her teeth. She has been doing this for so many years now that her teeth are just little stumps. And every now and then, she has to get up to tend the fire, which some people say has been here since the beginning of time. And she has to stir the pot, which contains all the seeds of the world. Every plant, every tree, every flower depends on her stirring the pot. If she allows it to burn, we lose all of our vegetation. And then while she's off stirring the pot and tending the fire, her dog unravels all of her weaving. So she gets back and she looks at all of her work in chaos on the floor, and she knows that the beautiful world she has created is coming unraveled. And she sits there for a while. And then she notices one particular fiber and some porcupine quills, and she picks them up, pulls them loose from the tangle, and she's instantly struck with a new vision that's even more beautiful than the previous one. And she sets to work reweaving the world. And because she is a wise woman, she understands that this ending is also a beginning. One world ends and another one begins. Some people believe that if she ever completely finished her weaving, life on earth would end. So on she weaves, and on she tends the fire, and on she stirs the pot. And according to Michael Meade, this is where we are now. We are witnessing the collapse of the world as we know it. And we are also being invited to be part of the reweaving, revisioning, and revitalizing of an ever more beautiful world. He says the point is not to live happily ever after. The point is to live a life of meaning. And he says there are different kinds of hope. He says there's naive hope, which was the kind of hope that I had as a young feminist. I thought that if we set up some battered women's shelters and then created some laws and then taught all the judges and the lawyers and the cops and the doctors, that eventually, like by the time I was an old woman like I am now, we wouldn't need any of that anymore because people would have learned that you can't just beat each other up in your own homes. But that was sort of a naive hope on my part. Of course, we still need all those things. And a naive kind of hope is not necessarily a bad thing to have. Expecting, anticipating, intending some particular outcome, that's not a bad idea. But it's also an ego-based idea, and you'll get disappointed if you don't get what you want. Like I look around now and I say, this is not the world I wanted to grow old into. This is not why I worked so hard on stuff when I was young to help things go in a good direction. But Michael Meade says there's another kind of hope. And he says, this is the kind of hope that's born of despair. And he says that's what's called for now. And he says, the earth is in flux. It's already happening, whether we acknowledge it or not. He says, we don't know what's going to happen, and we just have to be present with this darkness and kind of buckle up. We just have to stop waiting for change to come from the outside, and we need to go inside and look for it there. We need to reconnect with the purpose and gifts that each one of us brought along with us when we came here and figure out how to give the world these gifts. And as each of us does our bits, it all works together to create a better world. We don't need to know the whole picture, just do our part that was divinely ordained for us. And this version of hope, this deeper hope, has been through some anguish and come out the other side. And it knows that something better is possible, and it's trusting that it will be revealed and we will know how to carry it out. However, it's uncomfortable to sit in the darkness and the chaos, and many people resist this. We get busy, busy, busy.
And some people are so uncomfortable with uncertainty that they look for authoritarian leaders so they don't have to take responsibility. And we see a lot of that right now on the planet. But if we want to grow, we have to be willing to be present with the darkness, the chaos, the unknown. In creation stories, it always begins in the darkness. So it's up to us to look deep inside and find what we came to do and do that. And he says it's more of a remembering than a creating. So we can meditate, write, go for a walk in nature, make art, garden, hold a baby, pet your cat, swim. Do whatever you can to pull your mind back from the matrix and connect with your inner self. Michael Meade says, we come with gifts ready to be given, a vision ready to blossom. We haven't lost our essence. This is what people who survive despair understand. And because I'm looking at a lot of gray hair in this room, you know what I'm talking about. Things happen in life. Things happen in life, and we get through them. We come out the other side. And if we don't disappear, we're still here. We're still doing it. And I just wanted to point out, because I work in a clinic in a behavioral health department, right now there are just record numbers of mental health emergencies and people experiencing suicidal ideation. There's a lot of that going on right now. And Michael Meade, he had such a good idea about how to talk to people when you encounter people that are in that state. And first of all, what you do is you center yourself. You find a calm state of being. And your state of being is a gift that you can always offer. Well, we are always offering it, whatever it is. Sometimes it's a good state of being, sometimes it's not one that anyone really wants to receive. But your state of being is a gift that you are always offering to the world. So you find a calm state of being if you encounter someone with suicidal ideation, and then you say to them, the feeling that you want to kill yourself is not about you dying completely. It's about the part of you that you can't live with dying, so the rest of you can live. And I just thought that was really profound. So I'm going to repeat that because it's a public service. It's a public service announcement. You get in a good state, a calm state, and then you say to that person, the feeling that you want to kill yourself is not about you dying completely. It's about the part of you that you can't live with dying so that the rest of you can live. Yeah. Ooh. Sorry, that wasn't funny. There's nothing funny about this. Sorry, Jasmine. I got the serious stuff going today. So we're in a time when all of us are going through loss, but from the bigger point of view, we're going through loss in order to find a bigger, better life, and we're all invited to be on the path of creativity and greater meaning. Michael Meade says there's a thought in the heart that's trying to think us forward. And it depends on imagination in the soul, the capacity of each soul to renew itself and add to the renewal of life. Something in us is trying to awaken us to who we are, and we have to learn to trust this. And when hope is lost, you find it in the dark, even in the midst of chaos. So we are being invited to the edge of the abyss in order to find another kind of vision. And now we're going to use another song here, and this one is called Lift Each Other Up, and the woman that's singing is Dr. Lisa Rankin, so she's not a professional singer, and I think it's Karen Drucker playing the piano, and it's on your song sheet if you want to sing along.
Yourself in the eyes of the mother. You gotta bend down low and humble yourself in the eyes of the mother. You gotta know what she knows, and we shall lift each other up. Higher and higher we shall lift each other up. Humble yourself in the eyes of the Father. You gotta bend down low and humble
yourself in the eyes of the Father. You gotta know what He knows, and we shall lift each other up. Higher and higher we shall lift each other up. Humble yourself in the eyes of the children. You gotta bend down low and humble yourself in the eyes of the children. You gotta know what they know, and we shall lift each other up. Higher and higher we shall lift each other up. Humble yourself in the eyes of the elders. We gotta bend down low and humble yourself in the eyes of the elders. You gotta know what they know, and we shall lift each other up. Higher and higher we shall lift each other up. Humble yourself in the eyes of the ocean. You gotta bend down low and humble yourself in the eyes of the ocean. You gotta know what she knows, and we shall lift each other up. Higher and higher we shall lift each other up. Humble yourself in the eyes of the mountains. You gotta bend down low and humble yourself in the eyes of the mountains. You gotta know what they know, and we shall lift each other up. Higher and higher we shall lift each other up.
Let's stand for this last verse, please.
Humble yourself in the eyes of the Spirit. You gotta bend down low and humble yourself in the eyes of the Spirit. You gotta know what it knows, and we shall lift each other up. Higher and higher we shall lift each other up. Humble yourself in the eyes of each other. You gotta bend down low and humble yourself in the eyes of each other. You gotta know what we know, and we shall lift each other up. Higher and higher we shall lift each other up. Higher and higher we shall lift each other up. Higher and higher we shall lift each other up.
Okay, thank you. So now we're going to do a little meditation. And I thought we would start, excuse me, we'd start with a little energy work. And I learned this from a woman online named Prune Harris. She's a British energy worker, and you can find her on YouTube or at pruneharris.com. And I like that almost every video she does, she says, "My name is Prune Harris." I can't do a British accent, but she says, "And I'm an energy expert. I've been able to see energy since I was born." She's really cool. She's got videos everywhere. And the little thing that I want to teach you is just a little heart hug. And she says if you do this, if you, we're just going to, this, I forgot how to do it. We're just going to do this. And she said, you got to put your hands in your armpits. Sorry. I'm sure we have hand sanitizer downstairs before he eats. Okay. When you do this, your thumbs are on your lung meridian, and your fingers in your armpits are on your heart meridian. So if you just do this and give yourself a little hug, it just can kind of help you line up with your heart. And then while you're there, you can just do some nice breathing, just breathe into your heart. And it sounds silly, but breathe into your lungs like you're not already. And just appreciate those hardworking organs and the flow that they send throughout our entire bodies. And you can do that little exercise anytime, when you're feeling a little low or feeling a little hurt or left out. Anytime you'd like to be a tad more compassionate, anytime you're sad or unsure, or just when you want to feel good. Okay, so you can stay in that position if you like it and if it feels good to you, or you can put your hands down now, whatever you think. Okay, now if you would please close your eyes. And in your mind's eye, I'd like you to imagine that you're walking on a gravel path. And it's a beautiful spring day and you feel so glad to be outside. You're a good Minnesotan wearing just the right amount of layers of clothing, and your shoes are good for walking. And although you're aware of them, you're taking a break from paying attention to all the things going wrong in the world. You're just outside and noticing the beautiful day. You're noticing the little green sprouts poking up from the ground, and you're noticing the buds coming out on the trees, and you're just feeling relieved that winter has finally left us. The birds are singing, and other people you meet on the path smile at you, and you smile back at them, and their dogs. You are walking to the cave of wisdom to meet the old woman who is weaving the world. You are experiencing her work in every step. It is a beautiful world. You pause at the opening of the cave and watch her working. The warp is in place, and she is beginning once again to reweave the world. You see the tangled fibers on the floor, and the old woman explains to you that these are the fibers of war and aggression, confusion and despair, grief and longing, and greed and illness, ruin and destruction. She wants to weave the new world of love and cooperation, and synchronicities, and pretty colors, and funny cat posts for Facebook. She excuses herself to tend the fire and stir the pot, and she invites you to find your part in the weaving while she's gone. You sit down in front of the weaving, and images appear in your mind's eye. First, you sense the darkness and the anguish of the world. You hear the mothers crying and the bombs exploding. You see the gunshot wounds being cleaned and stitched in the emergency room. You see the drought-parched soil and dying plants and hungry children, but you don't turn away. You are present to the chaos and the sadness of the world. You are strong enough to experience the dark night of the soul and to hold all of this with your heart and to ponder. What threads are mine to add to the weaving of the world? You notice a fiber that seems to have your name on it. You add it to the weaving and you imagine the impact of this shiny idea unfolding, and you listen for another thread. Some of the impulses are small, like, I think I'll plant some flowers facing my neighbor's house. And other impulses are quite extensive. When we tune into the divine plan, we remember why we are here. We have a deeper kind of hope that arises from the strength we gain facing the world as it is, and then refining our vision of what's ours to give. So let's sit quietly for a few minutes and weave when inspiration strikes us. And the old woman returns from the kitchen. We thank her and we hug her. We pet her dog and we take our leave, knowing that we are always connected to our higher selves and to the weaving of the world. And we just need to make space for that so we can offer our best gifts to the world. And when you're ready, open up your eyes. Okay. And now that you're a little bit happy, I feel like I've just been jerking you around. Now that you're a little bit happy, I just want to talk about the war in Ukraine. Like, we've all watched this with horror, and we've just wondered, well, what can we do to help? So maybe we send some money, or we say some prayers, or we do a meditation to find where war lives inside of us, and we try to uninstall that. And then sometimes maybe we just shake our heads and we get overwhelmed and we stop watching the news. And that's okay too. We have to do that for our mental health. But maybe we look at that and we just bear witness to it and we awaken to live as our own highest selves. And by living this way, with each of us contributing what we came here to do, the world begins to change. And now I want to play you another song. This one is by a Ukrainian band called Kalush Orchestra. And they were recently named the winners of Eurovision 2022, whatever that is. I don't know. Maybe you saw this video. But to be honest with you, when I first listened to this song, like any old person listening to the music of a younger generation, I thought, that's just noise. Just noise. To me, it felt like they were just screaming their lungs out. And of course, I don't speak Ukrainian, so I didn't even know what they were talking about. But then, like, I liked how the people in the video, like, I liked how joyful and passionate they were. So I listened to it a few more times and it grew on me. And there was also this weird flute. This guy had this long, skinny flute that he would just hold like this and play it, and it sounded like bird song. So it's like, I just wanted to hear that part over and over. So I listened to it a lot of times. Then when I went to read the lyrics, so I would know what he was singing about, I found that the song is in honor of the lead singer's mother, whose name is Stefania. He wrote this song for his mother. And then I watched another video. It's another video of the same song, and someone put images to it, and it's images of women soldiers, and they're walking through the charred ruins of the outskirts of Kyiv, and they're carrying children to safety. And so this song is now a tribute to all mothers and the safety that they seek for their children. And I think also to the great mother who's weaving the world and wanting good things for all of us. So this was recently the most watched video on YouTube, and I think it kind of broke the internet, the one with the women soldiers. And I put that link on your song sheet so you can watch it and feel your heart being moved. And I think it's a perfect example of acknowledging the darkness of the place we are in collectively and being willing to bear witness and then move ourselves and the world along with us to higher ground. So I thought it might be good if we would move with the energy of this song and sort of beam out our love and our joy and our deeply felt hope to the people of Ukraine, because that's something that we can do. So I'm going to put the song on, and then we're going to get up and move around. So if you like to dance, we're going to dance. And if you don't like to dance, you can practice sitting with the chaos. That's okay too. Just watch the rest of us dance. And we're going to start with an exercise. This is a Donna Eden energy exercise. And if you want to stand up, we'll do this part together. And then if you don't want to dance, I'm not going to make it. So you put your hands in sort of a prayer position by your heart. And she calls this energy heaven rushing in. So that's all you do. You just put your hands on your heart. And then you open up your arms and you look up and you smile. And you invite whatever good wants to come in to come in. And you can stand like this as long as you want. And sometimes you even feel like it feels like things are moving in. And then when you feel like, yeah, you're full and you have lots of good, you can bring your hands down and back to your heart and then just say thank you. Okay, and now either we'll sit with chaos or we'll dance. And I'll put the song in now.
Стефанія, мамо, мамо, Стефанія, розквітає поле, а вона сивіє. Заспівай мені, мамо, колискову, хочу ще почути твоє рідне слово. Вона мене колесала, дала мені ритм і напевне силу волі не забрати мене, бо дала вона напевне знала, може більше і від Соломона. Ломаними дорогами прийду я завжди до тебе, вона не розбудить, не будить мене в сильній бурі, забере бабулі, звідулі, ніби вони кулі. Дуже добре знала мене, не була обманута, як було дуже втомлена, гойдала мене в такт. Стефанія, мамо, мамо, Стефанія, розквітає поле, а вона сивіє. Заспівай мені, мамо, колискову, хочу ще почути твоє рідне слово. Я не пеленак, то мана мах хватить. Геть би я не виріс, та виріс, а речу платить. Я не мала дитина, бо надалі нерви тратить. Я гуляв, шлях би тебе трафив. Ти все молода, а мама на піку. Якщо не ціню опіку, на піку, слабо мені ту піку. Забивайте піку, цю піку, я пипа пік. Своєю любов'ю. Стефанія, мамо, мамо, Стефанія, розквітає поле, а вона сивіє. Заспівай мені, мамо, колискову, хочу ще почути твоє рідне слово. Стефанія, мамо, мамо, Стефанія, розквітає поле, а вона сивіє. Заспівай мені, мамо, колискову, хочу ще почути твоє рідне слово.
Thank you, Kim. You do not disappoint. Two things, we'll do the offering in just a moment, two things that I want to remember. So, we got to do those right away. When you are bringing things or putting things together at home for the rummage sale, a couple of practical things that we need are big paper grocery bags, because we do a bag sale at the end of the day, and we can use newspaper for wrapping up breakables. The other thing I want to bring to our attention is that while Zoom facilitates some things, it does not necessarily help us feel connected to people who are not here. Because we can't see them, they can't see us. So we don't know who's there, we don't know how many folks are there, and the same is true of those folks at home not knowing what's going on here. So I sneaked around to ask Andrew a little while ago how many people we had on Zoom today, and then I counted us. And today we have 25 people attending our service, which may not sound like a huge number, but we have come so far recently, and it seems like each week we may have more folks. And so I just want to let you know that it's not just us. We are a larger group than we see. We are a larger group than it may feel like. And I want to call attention to the energy that our spiritual community has. And now, Sue, would you bring home, oh, that was an interesting slip of the tongue, but perfectly appropriate. Would you please bring home, yes, bring home that money. Would you bless the money? Okay, all right. How about a blessing at the end?
Yep, I'll do
Okay,
that too.
all right. And can we do that in a circle? Yep. Okay.
Yep.
All right, so Kim is going to bless the bacon today.
Okay. We thank you for this movement of energy that we call money, and we ask that it multiply like loaves and fishes. May it be for a higher purpose. Blessed be. Amen.
All right, and now we are going to read our church affirmation, which is on the little plastic card. We totally accept the belief that God is in charge of the affairs and direction of Lake Superior Interfaith Community Church. We know that as our thoughts of trust and joyful anticipation join in harmony with the thoughts of all the members of this fellowship, we attract the right ministerial leadership to our spiritual community, and we are grateful. For our closing hymn, I'm going to ask that we gather in a circle. We are going to gather up here as we've been doing recently, and Steve reminded me to put the microphone in the middle of us because otherwise the folks at home don't know what the heck we're doing. Okay. Okay, that's okay. All right. Okay. All right, Carol? Oh, I'm sorry, Kim is going to do. I'll be with you till we meet again. Hold on. Kim's going to do our benediction real quick. That's okay.
Okay, I chose this really simple prayer from the Yoruba tradition, and all it is this. Mother Earth, hold us, for the earth is hard. Thank you.
And then I'm going to ask all of us to take a half step to our left. Half step to your left. There we go. So the camera isn't looking at the back of anybody's head. No, you're fine. Right there. No. You're absolutely fine. Okay, Carol.
God be with you till we meet again. May His counsels guide uphold you. On His love securely fold you. God be with you till we meet again. God be with you till we meet again. Beneath His wings protecting hide you. Daily manna still provide you. God be with you till we meet.